Hakioi listeners, let's learn sumo. I'm Clayton. Welcome to the podcast. It's been a hot minute since I last updated you. So tonight is the mega episode where we cover 4 days of sumo, days 5, 6, 7, and 8. Obviously, day 5, I was doing some live commentary, so it was a bit harder. Day 6, 7, they were a little bit busy otherwise. So day 8, here we are. Well, I think we've seen the fight of the tournament, if not one of the fights of the year, between our Yokozuna, Terunofuji, and Ura, the acrobat, on day 7. To be honest, even if the Yokozuna had lost, it would have been not really much shame otherwise, because Ura threw everything at this fight. He went in with a game plan. He knew not to get tangled up, and he knew to keep moving. And after so much effort, I kind of really do feel a bit sorry for him not actually getting a Kimboshi, a win over the Yokozuna. But before we break down that fight between Terunofuji and Ura on day 7, let's have a look at day 5 and 6 first. If you want to skip to a certain point or a certain day, I'll leave some time markers in the comments field for you, and you can skip forward when you need to. Day 5, saw the loss of Asanayama after a knee injury on day 4 against Ichi Yamamoto. Now, remember, he came back with some injuries recently, but during the fight, he collapsed under a bit of pressure, and it was confirmed overnight that it was an ACL injury to his knee. It's going to require surgery and at least 6 months out. Now, given that he's already climbed back up from down around the Makushita ranks after his year-long COVID ban, where he went to a few bars and he wasn't meant to, the injuries that have hampered his rise to now, I have a feeling that's the last we'll see of Asanayama. Expect a possible retirement announcement, but I wouldn't think you'd hear it until after the next Bunskei ranking order, as wrestlers normally wait until this is announced to announce their retirement, because that affects their pay. Look, it's a real shame for a quality wrestler either way. He would otherwise fall to Makushita, maybe Sandanme, if he stays in, but I doubt that he'll have it in him to come back given the injuries that he's carrying. Anyway, day 5 had enough to keep us interested, even though the yusho race was still just starting to take shape. Yokozuna, he faced Gonayama on day 5 and made it look fairly simple. Yokozuna got under Gonayama's arms, and he just belly pumped in and drove him straight back and out. And I couldn't help but ask myself, if you know what your opponent is going to do to you and you know you need a better game plan because your game plan is not going to win that match, but you do it anyway, one would think that Gonayama really didn't give himself much chance. He went hard for the Oshizumo style of drive, but he really had no chance against a motivated and relatively healthy Terunofuji at this stage. And that put Terunofuji on 5-0, Gonayama 2-3. Hoshoryu, he won with a Sukiya Toshi, but the assist was really a Kotanage on Wakamoto Haru. Hoshoryu went straight under one arm, but he was denied a double inside grip, and he converted to over and around the other arm on Wakamoto Haru for a body grip. And Wakamoto Haru, he got the left belt, but he was denied the right grip. Hoshoryu pulled him and converted his overarm grip to a Kotanage arm-style lock as he forced Wakamoto around and over, bouncing into a crouch position. Hoshoryu just pushed him to finish him off out of the ring. A Sukiya Toshi diagonal pushdown was called, but I think the Kotanage really did it for him. Wakamoto Haru seems to have problems beating Hoshoryu regularly, and again, you have to ask yourself how to beat someone if your style isn't working against that opponent. And it's clear Wakamoto Haru likes that left in and out belt grip, but it just doesn't work for him against Hoshoryu. He needs a new plan. Hoshoryu on 3 and 2, Wakamoto Haru on opposite 2 and 3. Takakeisho went up against Ura. It was the theme of the night as Ura couldn't stop a thrusting and driving Takakeisho. A couple of decent thrusts off the tachiai. Ura went in for his low push start. Takakeisho ended up with a double arm grip, forcing Ura back, and as Ura stepped back over the bales, he's pushed out under pressure just before they go tumbling off the dohyo Yorakiri. Frontal force out, Takakeisho 2 and 3, Ura 3 and 2. Mitakeumi beat our Ozeki Korizukura by Shitatanage underarm grip throw, belt throw. Mitakeemi's changed his style against Korizukura. He had a bit of an idea that perhaps that wasn't going to work for him, and he went for a belt instead of the big drive. He just couldn't get a grip while Korizukura got a decent inside right grip on one strand of Mitakeemi's belt. Korizukura controlled him to an extent and pulled him around to the bales and over. They both went over at the bales and ended up airborne as they fell over the bales. It was super close who landed first, but a replay and a mono-e from the Shimpan judges showed that the Ozeki Korizukura touched his shoulder first, and the match went to Mitakeumi. If you want to see both of them in the air as they go down, there's a great photo that was taken on Nikkan Sports that I have reposted on my Instagram. It's a really good photo right in front of the photographer. Look, there was a possible dead body rule with both of them in the air. Goose from Sunday Morning Sumo and I discussed it in commentary. They were both airborne. Goose was thinking maybe a redo match at Toraneoshi, but it was given to Mitakeumi after the mono-e. Korizukura 3 and 2, Mita 2 and 3. Onosato got up against Kirishima. Kirishima just couldn't get any sort of belt grip at the tachiai, and Onosato controlled his hands, forced him backwards and over the bales. You got to ask if Kirishima can't get the grip on the belt. He really should have had a second plan, but Onosato just controlled his arms and hands and was too quick. So Kirishima 3 and 2. Onosato on the improve now, 2 and 3 after his slow start. Daisho went up against Hiradumi. This was going to be a high energy threshing affair with Sapari thrusts at 2 paces, and it did not disappoint. Hiradumi, he tried to get the advantage by pushing Daisho's chest to try and lift his center of gravity off the tachiai, but they quickly resorted to a threshing battle of Sapari thrusts, continual hits. Hiradumi is fast. This continued until Hiradumi got a bit too committed, dropped his head at one point as he went forward. Daisho, to his great credit, was going to start an attack, but took advantage, grabbed the back of his head, Hataki Komi slapped down. It was really good sumo sense there by Daisho, 3 and 2, Hiradumi 2 and 3. Abi and Terunofuji. Abi won by Okurinage, a rear push out. That's the second of the tournament. They both tried to get a belt grip off the tachiai. They both missed. Abi recovered better. Terunofuji was a bit too forward and was in a bad position as he passed Abi, and Abi took advantage, got behind him for the Okurinage rear push out, both 2 and 3. Meisei won Oshidashi against Tobizaru. Shononumi beat Sadnumi with an Iwatanage. Oho beat Kinbozan. Oho's strength, and he's the smaller wrestler here, and it's pretty impressive. This match had some really big clashes, big body hits over and over again, big meaty slaps. You could hear the effort as they were putting it in. Oho gets that win. Oshoma beat the larger Kota Shoho with a sideways fend and a push out. Midori Fuji got the Fusen default win over the missing Asaniyama. Hokuto Fuji, Roga, Nishiki Fuji all notched up wins as well. Wakatage beat Tsurunomi fairly easy, got under his arms and Yorakiri'd him over the bales. 4 and 1 for Wakatage. Day 6, Terunofuji. He continued his journey to Dai Yokozuna, 10-win Yokozuna against Tobizaru. He's determined to get that 10th Emperor's Cup and elevate his status. He tried to lock up Tobizaru's arms, but he did well to keep him. Tobizaru did well to keep him away with his long-reaching push. Terunofuji finally comes in close for the upper body hold, right inside, left outside, and drove Tobizaru back. Tobizaru resisted, but he got a decent shove out of the ring for his temerity to resist the Yokozuna. 6 and 0 for Terunofuji, 4 and 2 for Tobizaru. Korizukura beat Goneyama, Suki Otoshi. So basically a thrusting diagonal push down. Korizukura is back from the line a fair bit and gave himself some space, knowing that Goneyama was going to charge hard into the tachiai, which he did, drove Korizukura back to the bales, but Korizukura got a left outside belt grip. He tried for a throw, but he lost it as Goneyama kept coming at him. Goneyama pushed him back to the bales. Kodazakura used a right inside body grip to pull Gono across awkwardly, and Gonoyama went over the bales with the help of a side shove. Tsuki Itoshi, as I said, a diagonal force down at the bales. Our Kataban Ozeki Takakeisho, he continued some fairly patchy form and got himself another loss, this time to Wakamoto Haru, leaving him on 2 wins from 6 days. Takakeisho went for his normal thrusting attack to get Wakamoto Haru right back, but Wakamoto Haru, as always, he gets pushed back to the bales. He uses them as the steadying point, finds a rear right grip. Takakeisho tried the Kotanage arm lock throw, and he only had one hand on Takakeisho's belt. But Wakamoto Haru, he stayed upright, and as Takakeisho disengaged, Wakamoto Haru was in deep trouble, falling forward at the bales, but Takakeisho just wasn't in a position to take advantage, and by the time he's there, Wakamoto Haru was back up. They engaged again. Wakamoto Haru got another grip. Takakeisho missed the thrust, putting him sideways to Wakamoto Haru, and the end was nigh. Wakamoto Haru pushed him over the ring for a rear push-out, a kuridashi. Hoshoryu got a bit of a lucky escape against Ura. Ura, he drove super hard at the Tachiai, and they both went over the bales together. I think the feet had it all, as Hoshoryu and Ura's feet met together, and one of them dragged across the top. To be honest, I'd give it to Ura, but a mono-e was called. The Shimpan judges called a Toranayoshi redo because of the foot clash thing. Second fight, Ura, unfortunately, he waited at the Tachiai. Bit of a change of plan, and Hoshoryu drove forward and threshing like Daisho, and he drove Ura straight out. I'd say Ura should have gone with his first plan. Abi tried to take Daisho's brand of threshing as well to him, and found out that it was not a good plan. Daisho had far more power, and Abi lost. Onosato, he's improving as the tournament moves along. He notched up his 3rd win against Meisei, got in early for a grip on the single strand of Meisei's belt, just used it to control him out, a fairly easy win there. Hiradumi, 2 matas for him, the little false starts on the Tachiai. Maybe Kirishima was trying to put him off and slow him down, but in the end, Hiradumi was just too powerful here and drove Kirishima out all a bit too easy. Kirishima's not in trouble at that point, but he's only got 2 matches left in his pocket for those 10 wins, 3 apiece each for both of them. Tamefuji, he tried hard to get on the belt of Mitakayumi. Mitakayumi got both hands, led Atami back to the bales, and out he went. Mita is fairly impressive there, but he can be a little bit inconsistent. Wakataka Kage, it's getting a bit too much for these wakas. Took his 2nd loss to Kagayaki with some good defense by Kagayaki and not great sumo by Wakataka Kage. He's making life hard for himself with these type of easy losses. Nishikigi gave a little bit better effort against Midori Fuji, but he just couldn't pull off his first win for the tournament. Remember, this is day 6 and he's still winless. Midori Fuji was faster, able to break his grip, get Nish sideways and take advantage there. Wins otherwise for Kimbozan Ryuden and Takanosho, and Shodai as well, who's making some good progress. So, day 7, let's go straight to the headline match. What an epic battle this was. Ura tried everything. He went in with a game plan. He was perfect in moving, avoiding trying to get held by the Yokozuna, but eventually Terunofuji got hold of his arms and Yorikiri'd him out. I still think it's fight of the year so far. It's certainly up there for the end of the year. So Ura was set at the Tachiai. The Yokozuna made him wait. The Ura went in quite low, but not quite as low as he normally does. He's got that very low head style as he goes in, Greco-Roman styling. He's got a plan. He got hold of Terunofuji's right arm, and he was trying to drag him around to what Terunofuji did to him twice earlier this year. He was moments for a Kotanage arm throw, but the Yokozuna, he's just got more body to him. He's a bigger man, he's got more balance, and he stayed in and he stayed up. Ura danced the bales while he was holding Terunofuji's arm. Terunofuji broke the grip and charged him like a bull, but Ura dodged like a bullfighter, goes in and meets Terunofuji again. He got a hand under Terunofuji's right shoulder, and it was clear he was looking for a Katasakashi under shoulder swing down. Now, you could see on the Yokozuna's face, he knew it, and there was just a momentary panic there as he saw that and felt it, but he was fairly balanced. Ura dragged him around the ring, but they both stayed up as Terunofuji broke that grip. Ura went deep for a right rear belt grip as Terunofuji locked up Ura's arm as a result. He grabbed Ura's other arm, but Ura knew what was coming and dropped his weight immediately. Just immediately fell down and broke that grip to unlock the arms. It was a really good move to ensure that Terunofuji didn't get his double arm lock as he normally does and drive someone out. He drove his head under Terunofuji's armpit, so it was kind of right up next to his chest under his arm, and grabbed for the back of the Yokozuna's belt. At the same time, Terunofuji, he reached over and got a super deep rear grip on Ura's belt, and Ura had a left body grip as well. Ura actually lifted the Yokozuna just a centimetre or so off the dohyo. He did it twice, moving him backwards, and Terunofuji knew it. He gave up that rear grip immediately, and Ura converted to an armbar yet again, tried for a Kotenage arm lock throw, and once more with one hand on the belt this time. As Ura went back under the armpit, Terunofuji turned him towards the bales. He didn't have a grip on this incredibly slippery opponent. Ura's arms became rubber. As he dropped his weight to break free yet again, his left arm went up vertical, and as I said, this long match was not helping the Yokozuna. Terunofuji kept his right arm under control against his body. Ura's left arm was above Terunofuji as he tried for a bit of a vague headlock on the Yokozuna. Ura still had the belt and they were locked up together, but Terunofuji, I think Ura just ran out a bit of steam. He tried hard. He tried multiple things. They were locked up together. Terunofuji just walked him back to the bales relatively easily, and Ura stepped back over gently. What a match. That gave the Yokozuna 7 wins, no losses. But what did it take from our Yokozuna in terms of endurance? Poor old Ura, I do feel a bit sorry for him. He put up a gallant effort against a quality wrestler who had him panicked a few times. So good times for Ura. I reckon he could have another go at that. And I think in future, if he gets another opportunity, he might have a look at that match again and think, yep, I could try that again. Kodazakura, he was up and he met beat Tobizaru, but only just. Really good touchy-eye. Kodazakura drove Tobizaru back to the bales for a final push. He goes down front ways, and Tobizaru went backwards at pace over the bales, backwards, Ura style. Look, it was pretty close. Tobizaru went back to about the third row. Kodazakura face planted. Kodazakura got the fan from the Gyoji referee, so there was no mono-e, and that gave Kodazakura the win. Kirishima got a vital win over the Ozeki Hoshoryu. They met at the tachi. Kirishima disengaged, got a hand on the fully committed Hoshoryu's head and slapped him down. A little bit easy there. Hiki Itoshi pulled down his call, but it's probably more that Hoshoryu was a bit too fully forward and committed, and Kirishima just got a hand on him as he disengaged and Hoshoryu fell. 4 and 3 apiece there. Kirishima will be happy about that one. That was not going to be an easy match for him. Takakeisho met with Livewire Hiradumi. There's a furious thrashing battle ensued as Takakeisho tried for his well-used slaps as well. Hiradumi almost got down on one knee, but he went hard back at Takakeisho again, got in close at Takakeisho at the back of the bales. Hiradumi got an upper body grip and drove Takakeisho over. Takakeisho was trying for a side throw of Suki Itoshi, but it was all a bit too late. People might write off Takakeisho, but he's still got some fight left, and it's a very spirited affair, that one, and his well-used slaps, I think Hiradumi had a go at trying one as well. Certainly not as much effort as Takakeisho puts into them. Hiradumi, though, is just impressive in this tournament. Really fun to watch. 4 and 3 for Hiradumi, 2 and 5. Now, that's 4 and 3 in the meat grinder Komusubi position in the first week. That is an impressive score for anyone in that Shin Komusubi the first time. Things will only get easier for him in the second week. Arby got a big Nottawa thrust on Mitakayumi, drove him back to the bales. Mitakayumi touched his heel or something as Arby went down front ways. Super close. The Gyoji gave it to Arby. No mono-e called. Onosato, he had another win this time against Tamefuji. Meisei was a tricky customer, but Daisho went full thrusting on a series of Nottawas on Meisei. He got the win. Meisei went down fairly hard at the bales. Wakamoto Haru, he got an important win over Goniyama to improve to 3 and 4. He's got a lot of work to do. Another Nottawa and a decent push gave this to Wakamoto Haru. Ryuden got a decent belt grip on Akota Shoho, executed an excellent Shitata Dashinage open belt throw there. Midori Fuji and Tsurunumi, they had a pretty good fight. Tsurunumi eventually got a hand on the back of Midori Fuji's head and pulled him down. That was a Hataki Komi for him. He knew that the Karasakashi was a live thing and tried to keep Midori Fuji off him most of that fight. So that brought us to day 8. Our Yokozuna up against Shononumi. Now, he hasn't faced Shononumi for quite a long time. The last time they fought, I think, was in 3rd Division. The question for Terunofuji was, how much effort was it to fight Ura, and what did that take out of him? So he dispelled any doubts and easily accounted for Shononumi. Terunofuji got a left body and a right outside body grip, as Shononumi got a body grip as well. Shononumi tried to turn Terunofuji over, but he just has too much balance, too much hold on the planet, and readjusts, and Oshisumo's Shononumi out. That's Kachikoshi for Terunofuji. 8 wins, no losses. Shononumi doing okay at 5 and 3, and that's why he was promoted up the order to fight the Yokozuna. Hoshoryu, he easily dealt with Daisho. Hoshoryu learnt from his fight the other night where he was just too slow against, I think it was Goniyama, and he was just much faster off the Tachiai. Couldn't get a grip, but he goes back and pulls Daisho down as he was just too overcommitted yet again. Daisho, he's not learning. Hoshoryu and Daisho both 5 and 3 apiece. Hoshoryu, he can't really afford to drop any more fights if he wants to stay in this yusho race, same as Daisho. But 3 fights back from the Yokozuna, it's going to be hard to catch him. Takakeisho tonight, look, as I said, he's demonstrated he's got some thrust left in him by easily dispatching Kirishima. They both badly needed this win, and this loss leaves Kirishima in a fairly perilous position. He's chasing 10 wins. Now, I think we need to resign ourselves to a Sekiwake Kirishima for the near future at least, and a full Ozeki run required to get him back up to Ozeki. They hit at the Tachiai. Takakeisho got a good hand under Kirishima's arm. It generates enough power and thrust to push him back, and Takakeisho finishes him off. Oshidashi push out. That leaves our Kirishima Sekiwake trying to get back up in deep trouble. Kotozukura, he easily dealt with Ura with a Tsukidashi thrust out. 6 and 3 to Kotozukura. Unlucky again for Ura. Tobizaru, he tried a bit of a henker with a leg trip on Osato tonight. He's kind of misjudged it. I think he was looking to trip Onosato off the henker. I think he misjudged which foot Onosato was going to be on, and that left him a bit vulnerable, off balance. Easy Oshidashi for Onosato. He's on 5 and 3. Tobizaru 4 and 4, so not awful in this position at the moment. Abi got a big hit and shift on Goniyama, which led to a right outside belt grip. He pulled Goniyama around. Goniyama had a bit of a belt, but he couldn't do anything. Missed the other grip. Abi pulled him around down at the bales. A good Watanabe belt throw after his journey around the ring. Abi 4 and 4. Goniyama 2 and 6, not having a good time of it. Hirodumi and Meisei, this was always going to be a feisty affair. Hirodumi and Meisei go Sapari for Sapari as Hirodumi forced Meisei back. Hirodumi gets him back to the bales, converts to a body grip right at the last moment. Yorakiri, Meisei is over and out. Hirodumi is just super fast at the moment and doing well. Another painful loss for Wakamoto Haru against Atami Fuji. That leaves him at 3 and 5. Wakamoto Haru and Atami, they got onto the belt. Atami used his strength and weight, got Wakamoto Haru back to the bales, slipped him out and around. Look, Wakamoto Haru, he tried for an Watanabe on the bigger guy, but eventually lost the grip, and Atami Fuji just gave him a bit of a push. It was a good recovery to get out from the bales, but yeah, Atami Fuji, he's got a bit extra strength at the moment, so Both of them, I think, on 3 and 5. I'll have to check that figure. The good other fight from tonight's action was Midorifuji. He got a valuable win over Ryuden. Midorifuji and Ryuden, they went hard at the Tachiai. Now, Ryuden's lost his last 3 matches to Midorifuji, all by Karasakashi under-shoulder swing down. So Ryuden would want to do everything to keep Midorifuji from from getting under his armpit. Midorifuji got a big double front belt grip as Ryuden tried everything to get his arms released and lift his arms away from his belt. Had Midorifuji on a bit of a funny angle there for a while, and Midorifuji, no matter what he was doing, he wasn't letting go of those belts. And as Midorifuji does, he gets a bit of a sharp movement at times, trying to break his opponent's balance. They kept at it for a few minutes. Eventually, Midorifuji went for a lift and he pulled back and used one hand on that front belt to pull Ryuden down, called a Shitata Dashinage open belt throw. It was a really good move. Midorifuji now on 5 and 3. So let's have a look at where the leaders are at the halfway point of this yusho race. Terunofuji, as we said, he is the sole leader at 8 wins. The closest behind him is 2 fights back on 6 wins. Kodazakura, Shodai, and Chiranumi, all on 6 wins. Our next lot, 3 wins back. Hoshoryu, Onosato, our Kumasubis, Hirodumi, and Daisho, Shonanumi, Takanosho, Oho, Kodashoho, Midorifuji, and Wakatakakage, Roga, and Bushozan, all on 5 wins. That will skinny out a little bit as we move along. In trouble, Takakosho with 3 wins. Kirishima only has one loss left in his pocket. He needs those 10 wins, and with 1 chance left, he's in trouble. Meisei with 2 wins as well as Gonayama, they're in a bit of trouble. Nishikigi, look, what did I say the other night? He's got something going on. He has yet to get a win up. He hasn't got a solitary win so far on day 8. That makes it Makekoshi. He has a losing record for this tournament. That is a shame for him. I hope he gets a couple of wins up before this tournament sees the end, or he will be on that Juryo barge really fast. Phew, that was a big 4 days. Sorry it took me so long, everyone. It is a little bit difficult sometimes when you're doing multiple things at once. I'll be a bit more regular this week with episodes, so join me again as this basho takes shape. The question is, can anyone catch the Yokozuna with 2 wins in front? Hakio listeners, let's learn sumo.